Hi, my name is Mandolin Royal, and today is sort day for this pen. These guys are about 6 weeks old or so, and it is time to get through them, get their weights, and figure out who's going to keep growing here, who's going to get tagged for dinner, and who is pretty good to release to another flock. So I've got my sort cage all set up. I've got a bigger and better pen all set up. These guys have enough space, but the more space the merrier. Plus, of course, I've got another batch of babies behind them that need this pen. Gender is going to be really easy to decipher, so I'm going to go ahead and collect them up, sort them boy from girl, figure out who the leading birds are within their gender group, and go from there. And I'm totally going to bring you along for that process. See some of what I can look for at this age. Alright, so I'm set up. We're going to do the boys first. They're in this crate. I have my scale, I have my notepad, I have my initial viewing area. And what I show you guys is going to be from above because I'm not so sophisticated as having multiple camera angles. Perhaps I'll get there. Maybe I'll get a little lazy Susan for the 360 view of these birds. I've got the pullets down here in this crate, and I have my handy dandy sort cage. And enough people have been asking about this sort cage as far as dimensions that I'm going to go ahead and do a video on that too. Because this thing is really the cornerstone of my program because it lets me see so much, and it's right here. It's right in the middle of everything I'm doing. If I was really fancy, I could put this thing on wheels, take it around the farm to the other poultry areas. So if some of your stuff is a little bit spread out, consider a mobile poultry containment situation. But having the 3 stalls in here, we have birds to keep, birds to eat, and birds we can let go of. Because you don't want to release anything inferior if you're worried about your reputation. If you want to be able to stand firmly on your reputation, you cannot sell everything extra. You need to keep that in-house and invite it to dinner. Plus keep a little bit to keep your own thing going. We'll get there to see what the results are, what the count was, and how this particular batch of birds pans out. And some of you might get a little bit surprised on how many actually end up as dinner. And I'll explain more about that too as we get our results. Right now, I don't know what they are, so let's go ahead and get to it. Figure out what's going on with this batch of birds. Here's our first boy. Gonna put him on the scale. 1 pound, 11 ounces. So I'm gonna start a column for males. I'm gonna write down 1 and 11 ounce. This is the first bird we're grabbing. So this is our baseline. Every single bird after this is either gonna be bigger or smaller. But there's some other traits that we can account for. So now I'm going to look at them, get a good feel, turn the scale off, push it aside. There's not much we can tell right now, but we can tell a lot by the feel. They're coming up on the age where if they're going to have a heritage turkey type growth rate, they're going to start telling us that, and they're going to lean out a little bit. He's got plenty of meat. He's got width. I'm going to check the initial comb growth. We can see how many spikes are going to be there. This guy has 7 spikes. If I had to guess, he's going to end up with a little bend there. Right now, his earlobes are white. As he matures, we'll see if they stay that way. His beak looks pretty good. The head looks pretty good. It could be a little wider. For head width, if you can see the eyeballs, it could be a little wider. So that's a wait and see kind of thing. Still in juvenile feather. So far so good on his first set. Foot color though. It's a good time to look at that. It's a little on the pale side, but with how meaty it is, that's typical for what this line produces. The initial tail, give a little tilt. It's pretty pathetic with the age. Feel-wise though, I like this guy a lot. I'm gonna set him down on the flat surface of the table. And what I'm looking for is toe straightness. Right now that looks good. But see how the change in lighting changed the foot color? He's on the pale side. So I'm gonna put him in the center pen of my sort cage, because that's like the maybe pen. And this is our first bird. I'm gonna go ahead and put him there and grab another one. I need a volunteer. Gotta get the scale. This one's smaller. I can already tell by the feel. £1 8 ounces. The reason I'm writing this down is because it gives me an average. I can get my quantity of birds and then I can get my average weight. This guy does have a bent toe. More narrow. Smaller in the feel. Comb's probably going to end up a little goofy. Foot color's about the same. So I already know he's going into the dinner spot because of that. Right there, that toe. I'm at the point now where I need to call that out when I see it so I can get away from it. So this one goes in the dinner pen. Alright, next bird. Come here. Oh, this one's chunky. It's probably going to be competitive with the first one we did. Oh, but the feet are paler. No, he's between them. £1 9 ounces. Toes are straight. Comb might turn out decent. Head feels about the same. But look, that's too pale. Dinner pen. Alright, next boy, where are you? Oh, you feel nice. Let's see what you weigh. £1 10 ounce. Within range of the first guy. That feels pretty good. Underbelly and keel feel great. Less comb spikes. That's pale. Too pale. That last one's really gonna fill in a shrink bag quite nicely. You feel pretty good. Stand up straight. £1 11 ounces. Straight toes. Comb looks pretty good. Ooh. I gotta show you the straight-legged width going on there. I didn't do that on the others and I apologize, but check that out. He's showing some better qualities than the first guy, but he's the same weight. So I'm gonna put this one in the keeper pen. Oh, and that feels good too. Nice and wide and fleshy. All right, keeper pen it is for now. All right, next boy. We have 3 left, so try not to get bored with me. On the scale, stand straight, don't leave. 1 pound, 12 ounces. So right now, this is our heaviest bird. I gotta see your head. You're trying to escape. Underdeveloped in the comb. Not quite as telling as the others, but the wattles are telling the story. Based on what we saw in the width on the other, I want to see if this is comparable. You gotta stand up straight. I know, it's hot. We'll get you situated. Foot color seems better. I'm gonna put this in the possible keeper pen. I like this one a lot too. Oh, this one feels little. I think this is gonna be the smallest one. All the way, stand square. Yeah, 1 pound, 2 ounces. This guy is tiny compared to the others. He's probably gonna end up with a pretty decent sized comb with the right number of spikes. Foot color is probably gonna be decent. They've got another 2 weeks to really show what their foot color is gonna be. But this guy's the smallest in the batch. The other one was visually larger for our last guy. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in the dinner pen too. This growth rate is not something I want to breed forward. Alright, last guy, come on. Ooh. You must be the leader of that little group. You're the most developed guy in there. He's got a lot more comb and wattle growth. Based on experience, that's probably going to be the leader of the group. I just need him to hold still and get a weight. 1 pound, 13 ounces. So he's also the biggest too. And it certainly feels that way. Let's see if he wants to show us underbody. Since he is the last one. Foot color is alright. How are your toes? Don't try to escape. You're alright. Toes look good. With how these birds are, I'm really surprised he didn't take that chance to poop on my paper. But let me go ahead and write him down. I'm going to stick him in the keeper area, and then we'll do a review of what we found. You know, after watching these for the last several minutes, I think that one is a pullet. I think she's just gonna be a big girl. And based on what I'm seeing and how they're standing and how they're moving and knowing what their weights are, and in light of that back one being a pullet, I'm going to go ahead and move the one in the middle to the keeper's side. And these guys will go ahead and move to the dinner pen. So that was roughly 50% I was able to roll out at 6 weeks old. Now I know which pen situation they're going to go to. I'm adding my numbers to Rooster Coop, where I grow out the dinner boys. And they get pasture. It is open air. It's not covered. It's not my safest, most predator-proof place on the farm. And that's why I do take the boys that I prefer, and I put them with the pullets. They're going to be too young to release, so I don't have to separate out the ones that could go elsewhere. I can let them grow together. And in 2 weeks, I can go through this again. See what's different, see what changed, see who I like better then. But yeah, 6 weeks old, half of them already designated as table birds. This one's probably not going to darken up in the leg, but with the growth and the weight, might be able to balance it out with pullets. Not her. Her legs are not dark enough at this point in time to really help him out. But there's so much more to it than that. There's a lot of little different pieces and parts to the whole thing. So you don't want to make a call list too soon. But I'm going to go ahead and organize them into pens so that I've got an initial idea of what's going on. And I've got an initial idea of how many I might be able to put into a shrink bag. So I'm going to go ahead and move these guys out so we can switch over to the pullets. See what they're showing. And see if any of them have the size that that one has. That really looks like a girl. Oh, she's right up there with the male weight. That's exciting. I love it when that happens, because those big girls give you a lot of wiggle room on your boys. You can use a more correct but smaller male, and those offspring are not going to lose much size if you've got those big Bertha type females. I like to call them stabilizing birds. When you make some other breeding decisions to make them prettier, but you don't want to lose size. It's those big girls you want in that effort. But let me go ahead and get them situated, and we'll switch on over to the females. See what those results are like. It's warm out today. These birds look a little bit stressed out, and I hate that this part stresses them out. But it's brief, it's quick, and it's worth it. So we're going to go ahead and roll with it. I went ahead and crossed out that one that looked like a female and moved her to the female column. So technically it's our baseline, but she's probably going to be the biggest. So I'm going to go ahead, get my top view, turn my scale on, and grab another bird. I need a volunteer. Now this one feels pretty typical for a pullet. Go on, just stand. 1 pound, 3 ounces. There's good width in there. Decent fleshing. Not over the top, not thin, just average. Light color's pale. I'm going to put her in the pen closest to me, as probably don't need her just based on the initial feel and the foot color. Toes are all straight. It's hard to tell on the female combs, but if you zoom in and really get in there, you can count spikes. On a single comb bird, no matter the variety, you're supposed to have 5 spikes on that comb. So if you have 4 spikes, it's not enough. If you have 6 spikes, That's too many. But we also don't really eat combs. However, I've seen online a couple of recipes, so you could if you wanted to. But I don't do that. This one already feels a lot different. There's more width. There's more length. I bet this one weighs more. Toes look good. 1 pound, 6 ounces. A little bit darker in the leg. So I'm gonna put her in the middle pen and we'll see what else we find. As far as head width on the females, they're gonna be a little more petite than the males. But you still wanna look above to see if you can see eyeball. And we can. Right there and right there. But I have to admit that I've not been selecting for that as heavily. I've been selecting based off of the body feel. So we'll see. It's a new thing I'm trying. I like the width. Alright, moving on. There's a couple in here to do yet. I need another volunteer. You're alright, calm down. One pound, 8 ounces, so heavier so far of what we've already pulled out of the girl carrier. Foot color's better. Head's the same. Feel is good though. Based on foot color and feel, I'm gonna go ahead and put her in the keeper pen. I wish they told me everything about them this soon. It would really streamline things and maybe I wouldn't have to go through them every 2 weeks to see where they're at and what they're doing. But that's just not how they grow, and that's just not how they show. This one, 1 pound, 4 ounces. I'm gonna put it in position 1 just based off of weight. Toes look good. Head seems a little smaller. Foot color is okay. But it pays to be picky. She's not a top runner for fleshing and growth. Good width though. I bet she's gonna grow into herself well. But yeah, she's gonna have width. I changed my mind. I'm gonna put her in the middle pen for now. Oh, goodness. Well, come here and tell me about yourself. What do you weigh? 1 pound 8. I knew you felt good. Width feels good. So I'm feeling length, but I'm not really talking about it. I gotta fill you in. Right here is the base of the tail. Right there's the divot. So she's at this knuckle right here. The feel is good. The weight is where it needs to be. Head's not terrible. Foot color is alright. I'm gonna go ahead and slide her over to the keeper pen. Because keeping more is better than not keeping enough. Alright, who's next? Oh, you little short-legged bird! I can tell. You got short little legs. You feel little. 1 pound, 1 ounce. Smallest bird today. You got pink on the front of your toes. You just don't have the feel. You're short in every direction. Even your comb is short. Oh, but you're cute. I do want to point out, see how the front of that toe is pink? That'll breed forward. So I'm going to go ahead and put her in position 1 because I think her future is in a egg layer flock where there are no roosters. This is not going to be a breeding bird in any way, shape, or form. If I hang on to her and I've got a hankering for pullet, which is pretty good, that's a viable option as well. But based on bone spacing, she's 1.5 fingers wide already. So she'll be a productive layer. She just won't be a breeding bird. She's going to be petite. So position 1. All right, who's next? We have 3 more after this one. I'm sorry this is tedious, but have I explained that this is in no way, shape, or form extremely scientific? 1 pound, 8 ounces. So 1 pound 8 seems to be middle of the pack for the pullets. This one has a nice feel. There's good length on the top and the bottom. Head's about the same. Foot color is a little pale, but the feel is there. This is going to be a productive little bird, so I'm going to put it in the middle. It's different with the girls when you're sorting them out because they very well could have a very productive laying future ahead of them. I'll explain more about that when we get to results. 1 pound, 7 ounce. Oh, you're pale on the leg though. That's way too pink. Feel is there, but gotta get picky on foot color. Going in position 1. Absolutely everything in your breeding pens is responsible for the results that you're getting. So if you want different results, you've got to change what's in your pens. Based on foot color, I bet I've got some pale-legged birds in a breeding pen who are there for fleshing and growth. And I'm getting to the point here soon where I can start getting away from that. This one was little, that's why I went ahead and said something different. 1 pound, 2 ounces. Going in position 1. Doesn't have the feel. We have 1 more girl left, and then I'll show you what we got out of this group. Oh, you're spicy. It's always good when you see vigor Sometimes the smaller ones have the better vigor. It's not unheard of. This one feels little. Oh yeah. You're gonna be another little short one. 1 pound even. But you're cute, come here. You're spicy too. And you're so fluffy. You're behind on feather growth. Still have your baby tail. Pale-legged, you're going in position 1. What's your backside feel like? 1 finger. Still, bottom performer of the pullet pen. Alright, position 1 then. Here's the girls. Ended up being about a 50-50 split. We can't forget the extra one that's already in the pen I cleaned out for them. That gives us 6 females to move forward with. Hanging on to just 2, that's a mistake. So I'm going to keep these 5 for more growth for sure, along with that other big pullet. We'll check in with them later and see what they do. And these 5, they were the bottom performers, or they had a flaw that was already apparent. So I'm going to grow them elsewhere with an eye on finding them a home to be a productive layer in that's not a breeding home. I can't guarantee that after they leave my hands, but I also have a hard time calling out perfectly functional pullets too. And that's a choice you might need to make. And the luxury of the females is they can help round out a pen space-wise to keep your ratios right, so I can stick a leg band on them, knowing that I didn't like them early on. And capturing those earlier, better performers, that has really served me well in this dual-purpose adventure. Because it can be tricky to find birds that are dual-purpose, and sorting out who's performing well early on, that's a major part of it. So even though that one has pale legs, it had the right feel, and it had the meatiest aspect going on compared to the 5 we already rolled out. Probably not going to turn out to be a top performer, but just in case, she can also go on to do my breakfast eggs so that I'm not eating prime hatching eggs from the girls that turned out better. So a lot of this is food for thought. You are totally encouraged to figure out what your own methods are going to be. But if anyone tries to sell you on the idea that hatching eggs or day-old chicks are top quality or show quality, know that that's not true. You're still going to have to grow them out, sort them out, and see what you actually have from the pairings that you bought into. And I don't do specific pair breeding, so I've got to go through the offspring and I've got to sort out and find who got what I was after. These guys, they just didn't have the growth rate I'm after. If I was pair hatching, I could probably go back, find their parents to figure out if there's a particular hen or 3 that are not throwing forward the growth rate. But I still go through a lot of breakfast eggs too, so it's not something I'm going to sweat right now. Average weight for the females. Out of the 11 we got, that turned into 1 pound 5 ounces. Average weight from the 7 total males, that turned into 1 pound 9 ounces. And those bottom performers, they're certainly dragging that average down. But they were here. I didn't pull them out beforehand because I firmly believe in honesty. So I could have boosted those numbers by removing the little ones, but that's not going to help you guys. You guys need to know that even with the best breeding foot forward, you're still going to find something to call out, and you're still going to find your duds. They're in every flock. So just do your best. Sort for what you want your flock to be. And over time, they're going to become that. So keep at it. More on this later. Feel free to like and subscribe as we go through the grow season, and as we find what we do and don't like, and as we keep working this flock with forward momentum. We'll get there.